Hello, Game Maker fans. I'm here with Hi-Rez Studios, Todd Harris. And Todd, what is your position with Hi-Rez?
I am co-founder of the studio and chief operating officer.
That's very nice to hear. Well, I got a couple questions for you today here. Okay, first thing, your company has been around for a couple years now, and how has it changed since the release of Global Agenda, Tribes Ascend, and now Smite?
Wow, yeah, so we started the studio in 2005. We've definitely changed. I think we've grown. You know, we started the studio with 4 of us. We're up to 65 people now. Since the beginning, our core competency has been PvP, basically online multiplayer, and so I think we've just tried to refine that and get better at that over the years. So Global Agenda was our first game, started with online PvP. We expanded the scope on that. We probably expanded a little bit too far, to be honest. You know, the game was really known for having awesome PvP. We added a bunch of game modes, but perhaps too many, because it became a game that was hard for us to add content to. So it had a good run. It has a community that still continues to play it, which we love, but it got to a point where we really couldn't add content. So with Tribes, we decided we wanted to make a much more focused offering just on, you know, PvP, online multiplayer only, no story-driven campaign, anything like that. And I think the team executed really, really well on Tribes Ascend. We're real proud of what we built. One of the top-rated games last year, certainly, and I think catapulted free-to-play games into a new category, really this idea of AAA production values in a free game. And with Smite, we're just trying to continue that. You know, the MOBA genre is hot. This is our own unique take on it with, of course, the third-person perspective, and the movement feels more like an action game or PvP MMO, and we're real pleased with how it's going so far, and we have big plans for it in the future.
Well, that's good to hear. Sounds very interesting. Smite appears to be taking off quite a bit faster than maybe Global Agenda or Tribes Ascend actually did, and is doing quite well. What would you attribute that to?
I think it's a couple things. I think number one, just our studio reputation has gone up. So Global Agenda was from an unknown studio in Alpharetta, you know, so it was kind of hard to get attention. Tribes put us on the map definitely as a studio with the critical acclaim. So I think people have started to understand what sort of games we're passionate about, which is online multiplayer that tend to be balanced but also free. So that draws a lot of people just with the studio name. And of course, we can't discount the fact that MOBA is just a really hot genre right now. You know, it's exciting that worldwide there's a lot of players interested in MOBA games, and we've got MOBA with a twist, and I think that also brings people into Smite. And third, I think the theme, you know, a lot of people that maybe were afraid to go into a MOBA or it never interested them, just the theme of getting to play a god, that's pretty compelling. So we see people coming from maybe MMO, PvP, battleground sort of environments, and the controls and the theme brings them in. So, you know, good game, a little bit of luck, seems to be working well with it.
It's a very exciting time right now for the game. Can you give us a rough timeline of what we'll see with Smite over the next year?
Sure. So first of all, as far as release, you know, we originally announced we wanted to have at least 30 gods before release, and now we've bumped that up. We want to be closer to 40 gods, so that'll probably take us to end of summer-ish time frame before we call it release. And of course, for us, some of the most important things are the balance of the game. We want to make sure we continue to keep an eye on that, and the graphical polish of the game. Every release that we do, you know, every 2 to 3 weeks, we're introducing a new god to get us closer to that 40, but we're also trying to improve the polish of the game. You know, it may be improving the trees on our conquest map, or improving the skybox. We're even going to go back and take a look at particular gods. Not a lot of them, but the artists right now are actually looking at Ra. You know, the artist that made Ra wants to do a redo, you know, still very much influenced from the same concept, but just pump up the visual fidelity a bit. So that's the sort of thing that we're trying to do, add polish. We've been working recently a lot on new player experience, so as you know, more co-op, so if you want to bring a friend in and play co-op within Arena against bots, or even co-op within Joust. You know, again, for these people that this is their first MOBA, potentially, a more friendly way for them to get into the game. So that's up until release, and then for the year, kind of 6 months after the release, certainly we will continue to focus on gods, focus on skins, focus on the competitive aspects of the game. That's really our high-level roadmap.
It's always really nice to see a company push back launch in order to make sure that the game is quite there out there for all the players to be able to enjoy. Here today, we're actually with, you're in a Twitch booth for today, and it's actually quite exciting. You all have been featured for, it looks like, I think the past couple weeks on Twitch, especially in the evenings. How did this partnership begin, and is it long term?
Yeah, I mean, Twitch has been a great partner for us. I think it really fits our studio culture, you know, because we don't work with an external publisher, right? There's a concept that we're excited about as gamers. We develop it, we publish and operate it, we support it, we want to interact directly with the community. And so we do that a lot with forums and trying to monitor Reddit and YouTube. But one of the great things about streaming is just that immediacy, right? We're showing the game and the streamer can directly chat, get real-time feedback. I mean, it doesn't get more interactive than that. So it's a really good fit with our studio culture. So we started doing that with both Tribes and with Smite. You know, at this point with Smite, we've actually got a 24/7 channel, which I think is the first from a studio, you know, where we're trying to give you glimpses inside the studio on what's coming up. Obviously tournament matches, people develop relationship with the streamers, and that really for us is two things. It is good for us as a studio because Eras and myself and the development team, you know, we're there watching the chat and seeing what things people are complaining about. You know, when we introduced the stat system in Smite, did people like it or not? Well, it's pretty clear in chat, you know, what people thought about that. So that's great for us as a developer as far as making a really good game and knowing what the community says. And then secondly, it's a way to seed the streaming community, because I'm definitely very bullish on pro streaming. We want people streaming Smite not just on our channel but on other channels, because it's a good way for people to learn about the game. And so by us having that channel and supporting the community, hopefully other people can continue to do that, and it's a way to, you know, employ more people in the games industry, which is great. It's exciting to see that whole scene. So yes, for us, definitely the kind of the partnership with Twitch and this idea of streaming and supporting that is a very long-term commitment for us.
It's awesome to hear. And along with this, we've got this weekend here at PAX is a $10,000 tournament invitational going on, and it's very exciting for a lot of the Smite community to see this, and it's very exciting for the esports community. Can we look forward to over the rest of this year to see more events similar to this?
Yeah, so again, everything we do is PvP, it's all online, so I think as a studio we've just continued to improve the tools that we have to support esports or competitive play. So from Global Agenda to Tribes, now to Smite, we've definitely improved things like player skill ranking, you know, ELO system, matchmaking, statistics. We definitely have the richest statistics available at this point for Smite, so you can look up and see leaderboard or see personal match history. Obviously the spectator system and demos is very important, and of course the shoutcasting community that's making that all happen. So the $10,000 tournament is really a start. We will, upon launch, basically announce more details for a $100,000 tournament, which is pretty big, and we'll plan to do more events going forward. So we think the game has really big esports potential and definitely want to continue to support that.
That's good to hear. I'm sure the pro players are very much looking forward to that right now.
Yep.
The EU scene is usually in esports. The EU scene's quite big, and our current EU scene for Smite is a little bit smaller since you are a North American-based company. Is there going to be efforts to increase the size of that scene, maybe even attend DreamHack?
I think there is. I mean, actually from a player perspective, we see great things out of EU. In fact, our player proportion is slightly higher out of EU than NA, and certainly MOBA is big in those areas. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, and it's really just a matter of where the calendar falls. So we haven't locked in any specific plans for specific events, but definitely we want to encourage that scene, and really the timing was just right for us to do this tournament here at PAX, but we expect that we'll have presence in EU events as well.
And there are a couple other titles that Hi-Rez Studios have trademarked as far as we know of people who follow, and that's Tribes Universe, Global Agenda 2, and a more recent one that we've seen called Kill Streak. Is there any information you can provide on any of those three titles for us?
Well, so Tribes Universe was the first title that we envisioned before we made Ascend. It was an idea of a larger title, larger scope. We really thought that it would be better to introduce a new generation to the combat, which is Tribes. So we came out with just the basic, you know, multiplayer FPS, which is Ascend. And so that is what Universe is. We don't have anyone working on that at this time. Ascend is still getting updates, so that's really what's occupying us. As far as Global Agenda 2, that is a project that we intend to do. It's been on the back burner recently because all of our resources have been on Smite and on Tribes, but I will say that just in the past 2 weeks we have kind of rekindled those efforts. So we are excited about taking what we think was the best part of GA, which was the PvP, and really honing and polishing that and using all the platform that we have, again, as far as demos, player skill rankings, all that kind of improved tech, and releasing something that is derived from that global agenda PvP. So can't reveal anything more other than that we are moving that forward. Kill streak we won't talk about. It's a cool concept, but no one's developing anything on it right now. So
okay, well, I know some old school global agenda players that might actually be glad to hear that they got a PvP sector of it coming out again for us. And I do have one final question from me for you. I believe this was provided to me by one of your interns, but I did hear that you could have moves like Jagger. Is there any way you could provide us those example for us?
Well, wow, that probably was derived from our Harlem Shake Tribes video, but I only move like Jagger when I'm wearing a Blood Eagle helmet, so you'll have to just see it on YouTube.
So take a moment, head on over to the Smite Game YouTube and look in their Harlem Shake video to find that. Or is it Hi-Rez Studios or Smite Game? That
one's actually on Tribes, so Tribes Ascend, yeah, if you really want to hunt for it, but you're not missing that much.
Hey, you can check it out at Tribes Ascend. Thank you all for joining me today here with Game Breaker and here with Todd, and bring you more Smite coverage, Tribes coverage, and Global Agenda 2, it looks like in the future as well. So y'all have a good day.